Most men don't struggle with criticism because it's false. They struggle because it feels personal. Because the moment someone questions your actions, your body tightens, your mind prepares a defense, and suddenly you're not listening anymore. But here's the truth most men never learn. Criticism only controls you when it touches an unexamined wound. What if feedback wasn't an attack, but a mirror? What if the strongest man in the room wasn't the one who argues back, but the one who can stay grounded, listen clearly, and walk away stronger? Stay with me, because how you handle criticism quietly determines how far you'll go in life. There comes a moment in every man's life when words land heavier than they should. A comment, a correction, an opinion offered without softness, and suddenly something inside tightens. The body reacts before the mind can explain. The chest contracts, the jaw sets. The urge to defend, withdraw, or strike back rises quietly, but powerfully. This is not weakness. This is human. But what separates the emotionally intelligent man from the emotionally reactive one is not the absence of this reaction. It is what he does next. Most men were not taught how to handle criticism. They were taught how to endure it, or how to resist it, or how to turn it into fuel for self-judgment or anger. So criticism becomes either a threat to identity or a verdict on worth. The emotionally intelligent man learns a different truth. Criticism is not an enemy, but it is not automatically a teacher either. It is information, and information requires discernment. Not every critique deserves absorption. Not every opinion deserves obedience. But every emotional reaction deserves attention. The first skill the emotionally intelligent man develops is pause. Not silence born of suppression, but space born of self-respect. He does not rush to explain himself. He does not rush to justify his intentions. He does not rush to prove he is right. He creates a moment between stimulus and response, because within that moment lives his power. In that pause, he asks himself a quiet question. What exactly am I reacting to right now? Is it the content of what was said, or the way it was delivered? Is it touching an old insecurity? Is it echoing a past failure? Is it threatening how he sees himself? Criticism often hurts not because it is true, but because it feels familiar. The emotionally intelligent man understands this. He separates the message from the memory. He does not let past wounds hijack present feedback. Instead of asking, "Why are they attacking me?" he asks, "What part of this is mine to learn from?" And just as importantly, what part of this is not? This is maturity. He listens without surrendering his self-worth. He stays open without abandoning his boundaries. He knows that receiving criticism does not require self-erasure. He also understands something many men miss. Defensiveness feels like strength, but it is actually fear and armor. The need to immediately explain, correct, or counterattack often comes from the belief that being criticized means being diminished. But the emotionally intelligent man no longer ties his value to being flawless. He knows who he is, so feedback does not threaten his identity. When criticism is constructive, he leans in. He listens fully. He asks clarifying questions. He thanks the other person, not as submission, but as confidence. Because he knows growth requires humility. And humility is not humiliation. It is self-trust strong enough to admit, I can improve. When criticism is poorly delivered, emotionally charged, or unfair, he does not internalize it. He notices the tone. He notices the emotional state of the speaker. He recognizes projection when it appears. And instead of absorbing the damage, he responds with grounded clarity, or chooses not to engage at all. This is not avoidance. This is discernment. He understands that not all criticism is about him. Sometimes it is about someone else's frustration, fear, or unmet expectations. The emotionally intelligent man does not carry what is not his. He does not confuse volume with validity. He does not confuse emotion with truth. He does not confuse opinion with fact. He holds himself steady. And because he is steady, he becomes trustworthy to himself and others. Criticism handled well becomes refinement. Criticism handled poorly becomes resentment. The emotionally intelligent man chooses refinement. He reflects later, not in self-attack, but in curiosity. He asks, is there a pattern here? Have I heard this feedback before? What small adjustment could make me more effective, more aligned, more grounded? He does not spiral into shame. He does not rehearse the moment endlessly. He extracts the lesson and releases the rest. This is emotional efficiency. Over time, something powerful happens. Criticism loses its sting, not because it stops coming, but because it no longer controls him. He becomes less reactive, more centered, more resilient, and people notice. They speak to him differently. They trust him with honesty. They respect his presence in difficult conversations. Because a man who can receive feedback without collapsing or attacking is a man who feels safe to grow with. And perhaps the greatest shift of all, the emotionally intelligent man learns to offer himself the same grace he seeks from others. He stops being his own harshest critic. He corrects himself without cruelty. He holds high standards without punishment. He understands that growth is not driven by self-contempt, but by self-respect. Criticism, when handled wisely, becomes a mirror, not a weapon. And the emotionally intelligent man does not fear mirrors. He uses them to see clearly, to adjust with intention, to move forward with strength that is calm, not brittle. Because real confidence does not come from being beyond critique. It comes from knowing you can face it and remain whole.